Can you get into like, I mean, this COVID deal is, I can't even fathom this. I mean, the fact that they were like sending kids home, the training, social distances. I mean, I just saw like a bunch of UT players all, got tested and they had it. I mean, I can't imagine the hurdles that you're having to jump. How are you managing this? Like for the kids that went home, I mean, obviously you are probably stalking them on social media, sending them programs, making sure they're doing that. Like, how do you kind of manage this kind of, I mean, it's really tumultuous time.
So yeah, over the quarantine, and what I kind of said over and over to strength coaches is your relationships are really going to be questioned right now because if you put the time in that you were supposed to, then you probably have open lines of communication with your players. And if they're being honest with you, then it's going to be easier for you to meet them where they're at when you get back. Um, and I think for the most part, we had really good communication with the majority of our football team while we were in the quarantine. When we got back, the objective was how do we meet the players where they're at? We haven't done anything since what, March 13th, March 11th, something like that, March 10th. Um, we did not have a spring football season. So they haven't done any type of football related work since 2019. Uh,
No
they
spring
haven't been,
football, huh?
what's that?
No spring football. Fuck
We did
that.
not have a single practice for spring football before the quarantine hit.
Was that unilateral over all the teams? Or
Now, some teams started earlier. It just kind of depends on how your training schedule and academic schedule falls and what you decide to do with spring football. So some teams had a few practices. Some teams got through half of their spring football season and some teams didn't practice at all.
wow,
It just so happens that however that timing lined up. So our protocol this year, um, we have an awesome partnership with Play and with Rogue, and we got set up in our concourse with 20 racks outside that are all spaced. They're in clusters of 5, each cluster spread apart 12 feet. I'm sorry, each rack in a cluster is spread apart 12 feet, and then each cluster is like 30 feet apart. So it goes the length of our entire concourse. Um, for one strength coach, he's responsible for that cluster of 5. So he gets 5 athletes to coach. 20 can come in a group, no more than that. Our field is laid out like an etch a sketch diagram. So every bit of running that we do, the players are spaced 6 feet apart. Again, they're in those clusters of 5. Each of those clusters is at least 30 feet away from each other. And it was really about getting them in a routine. Players are used to a certain normal when it comes to training. And our objective for the first week was to get them out of what they were used to. Now there's one player training at a station. He doesn't get to share that station or that rack with anybody else. It's his. The coaches are not there to help them change any weights or put clips on or help them set the rack up. That's all done by them. So from a program standpoint, you get really simple to try to mitigate some of the timing of having to set it up and change things on the rack. Um, we do lift and runs together because we don't bring them in twice a day anymore, which sometimes in the summer we do. So we get it all done in one training block. So my staff starts at 6:45 in the morning and we train groups every hour and a half throughout the day. And we go until basically 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, it's tough. Our staff is wearing masks. We're wearing gloves. We go through, if I had to, I don't know how many wipes are we have like a 3-gallon bucket full of wipes, and we have 5 of those up. I'm sorry, is it 5? 4 of those up in the concourse. So it's one for every group of 5 racks. We go through one of those buckets of wipes about every day and a half for each cluster of racks. But I'll say this, the staff and the team has adapted very, very, very well. I'm having more fun with these guys right now than I've had in a long time. And I feel like it's because we've got really solid relationships with the players. I feel like it's because we haven't been around each other for the last 3 or 4 months. So you're very appreciative of the time that you get with them. And you have so much to catch up on. It's like you're getting new stories from the players almost every day. And what that does for the relational aspect has been awesome. It sucks because we can't have them over the house. We can't do barbecues for them right now. We can't have I can't have a pool party at the place in the neighborhood for the guys. That's a tough piece. So you're only getting them for those 90 minutes in that training block right now. That's hard. It's hard because we don't do anything team oriented. So the guys that train at 6:45, they don't know what the guys who train at 10 o'clock are doing. So, well, they know
set up like a Zoom. You need to set up like a Zoom account.
That's what they've done. Is what they've started to do is to get in these meetings and they talk about it, but it's just really hard because they don't have the ability to come back and watch. They don't have the ability to come and support their teammates if we're doing a run test. They don't have the ability to support them if we're going to do some sort of competition in training, right? Like that's the tough piece of trying to figure out how do you gain some of those intangibles from things that you were able to do before that you're not able to do right now. And as strength coaches, we're learning every day to try to come up with new ways to be able to do those things with still being in our COVID-19 guidelines and restrictions.
What do you think, and I'm kind of almost scared to ask, what do you think college football is going to look like in the fall?
I don't know.
Have they even discussed it in any way, or
I'm sure they're discussing this thing every day, but here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Our football team, if we play, they're going to be ready. If we don't play, they're still going to be ready. And that's what I'm telling our guys. We are not going to miss an opportunity. They will be ready to go whenever and however this season kicks off. I do think for strength coaches, if you're a strength coach and you think that, let's say in January when you start your off season, all the things that you're doing right now for your protocol, if you think they're just going to go away, I think you're crazy. There's no possible way that we're doing all this stuff right now and then none of it's going to stick and we're just going to go back to normal. There's going to be a new normal for things even when we're past this.